We're going to do a full political debate on the Rahul Gandhi interview tomorrow, 8 to 11 p.m. But Vinod Mehta, Editorial Chairman of The Outlook, and Siddharth Varadarajan, Senior Journalist, are joining me for their first reactions to Rahul Gandhi's various comments. Siddharth and Vinod, who do I go to first? Okay, let's go in the order of seniority. Vinod Mehta, what did you think of what Rahul Gandhi said and how he took that interview?
Arnab, the first thing I'd like to say that you did an excellent job. You were persistent. You were not overawed by the occasion. You asked some very pertinent questions. The range of the interview was truly impressive. And you were polite. So you combined all these things, but you still managed to ask very relevant questions. Now, my first reaction to the interview is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi emerges as a very sincere, candid, passionate person. And he seems to be seriously interested in changing the fundamental structure of India. But I thought that on many, many questions, he just didn't have the answers. For example, when you asked him about corruption and Ashok Chavan and Veerbhadra Singh, I felt rather sorry for him because, I mean, what is he going to say? He has no answer, the CWG. So on the corruption issue, he was on a very weak wicket and he could not answer those questions. But I think that he was able to paint a picture of what he intends to do in some interesting ways. And one of the things that he kept repeating was he wants to change the system. Now this damn system has defeated so many people who have tried to change it. But I wish Rahul Gandhi the best of luck. He has some good ideas.
Okay.
And but the system is formidable and it might break him rather than he break the system. But I'm delighted that at least he has embarked on that task. And his honesty, I thought, Arnab, when you asked him questions like dynasty, etc., was quite commendable because, I mean, what is he going to say? He is a beneficiary of the whole dynastic process. So when he opens up the Congress, what does he do with the dynasty at the top?
Right.
So in all these areas, there were obviously he had some difficulties, but overall I think he emerged quite well.
Okay.
In what he was trying to tell you, and I was at least 50% convinced that he has the makings of a leader.
You were 50% convinced. I won't ask you why 50% you were not. Siddharth Varadarajan, what you make of Rahul Gandhi's comments? You know, at various points of time, on specific questions, he says those are superficialities. Drawing him back into specifics was proving to be quite difficult. How would you rate the interview?
You know, I think the interview began on a rather promising note. Quite frankly, I could see Rahul Gandhi trying to deftly, in a way, transcend the question with which you started. You were trying to set up, as many of us in the media have been trying to do for the past 6 months, an election fight that is Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi.
Yes.
And for a variety of reasons, this is a contest. This is a fight, a duel that Mr. Gandhi is not comfortable with, and I think he set out fairly cogent reasons for why he didn't want to look at the election in that way. When he said there are bigger issues involved, this is not a fight about an individual. This is about a fight of involving more and more people in the system. And I thought he set out the basic contours of what he represents quite well. Where Mr. Gandhi began to flounder, and at various points one felt floundered pretty badly, was when he had to defend the indefensible, when he had to carry the burden of the experience of the Congress party's rule going back, of course, to 1984, where I think his attempt to explain away 84 or to suggest that the 84 massacres were in any way less heinous and less reprehensible than the 2002 pogrom, or that the responsibility of Narendra Modi is any greater or less than that of the Congress party.
But he admitted there, Siddharth.
I think he failed miserably. He failed miserably in that.
Siddharth, that one point, sorry to butt in, but where he said, yes, I admit congressmen are, some congressmen could have been involved in the 1984 riots. That's more than has been said in terms of an admission of the role of Congress leaders in the 84 riots. But I was wondering, Siddharth, having said that, when I asked him 4 times, almost 5, will you apologize for the 1984 riots? Why didn't he? Why did he just pass it off by saying that, I personally was not there? Could he have gone that one step further?
I would put it down to his inexperience as a politician, quite frankly, because when the Prime Minister of this country, on behalf of the Congress, has already apologized in Parliament, when Dr. Manmohan Singh, who arguably had even less to do with the 84 riots than Rahul Gandhi did, took it on the chin. Now, it's a different matter. One can say, well, what's the big deal about an apology? Because what this country wants is justice, and the victims of 1984 have not got justice, just like the victims of 2002 are still fighting today. So Rahul Gandhi ought to have been candid. I don't think he would have lost anything. I don't think he would have been in any way diminished by apologizing for what happened. So I think he handled that very badly. I think he handled the questions on corruption pretty badly. He had no answer on Ashok Chavan, for example, Veerbhadra Singh. And I think where you really cornered him, because he has his stock reply every time things got a little hairy, was to say this is not the issue. The fundamental issue is that we need to open up the system is closed, we need to empower women, we need to bring youth in. And who decides who the leaders are? And then when you said, well, who decides about Chavan? Who decides about Veerbhadra? So there you have the Vice President of the Congress Party, who surely has some role to play in deciding the future political careers of these gentlemen, essentially being unable to offer any answer, being unable to offer any solution. And I think, so this, where he was carrying the burden of the Congress Party's misgovernance, I think he did rather poorly. But where he tried to sketch out a vision for what future politics should look like, I think he did well.
I think so too. I mean, this is good. By the way, Siddharth and Vinod Mehta, I'd like to say that we are getting a lot of reactions from political parties and leaders, from the BJP, the Akali Dal, other parties who are commenting on specific parts of what he said or did not say. And we are going to put all those reactions out. Obviously, some of what he said is going to be controversial, specifically the part on Gujarat, because when I asked him 5 times about how he directly, and Siddharth, you followed this story very closely, did he come out well, Mr. Mehta, on Gujarat? And did he, when I asked him how do you directly implicate Narendra Modi after his getting cleared by the SIT, he did say that, the Gujarat government pushed the riots further, but did he put it well?
No, I don't think so, because when you mentioned the fact that every legal forum, the SIT, the courts had not been able to nail Narendra Modi, he kept insisting that this is what I have heard, that the administration aided and abetted the riots. Now that is, I can also say that I heard that in 1984, Congress ministers were involved in the massacre of the Sikhs. But Arnab, there's a larger point which I wish to make, which is that if you expect Rahul Gandhi to bear the entire burden of the sins of the UPA and answer every question about
that was not, Mr. Mehta, that's not my suggestion. That's not my suggestion. The question is put in the context of a...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he was on he would be on a very weak wicket, and it would be very difficult. So if he floundered, I can understand why he floundered, because he simply doesn't have the answers to those questions, and he can't give you the honest answer.
No, he has said it. I thought he said it repeatedly. I don't know what Siddharth's interpretation is there, because when I asked him, do you agree with your Prime Minister, Siddharth? He says that what the Prime Minister said is a fact. Now, I think that's fairly categorical. And then he goes on to say that the Narendra Modi government was pushing, aiding and abetting the riots further, not saying that it were guilty by omission. But Siddharth actually going on to say that they were guilty of commission of the riots, participating in the riots and pushing them further.
But he had no evidence, Arnab.
Yeah, sure, he had no evidence.
Back it up.
No, sure, he had no evidence, because you said that he only said that others said it. He didn't only say what others said it. He said journalists told me that the Gujarat government was administering the riots, but
Arnab,
he did make a more categorical point. Yes. Siddharth.
Arnab, I wish Rahul Gandhi had done his research better into 2002. I wish he read my book. I'm not plugging my book, but there's plenty of evidence, plenty of well-documented details about police officers, policemen, junior ministers, Bajrang Dal, BJP people being involved, Jaideep Patel, Mayaben Kodnani, who Mr. Modi made a minister later, and finally she was convicted of the Narodia Patia massacre, and he made her a minister despite knowing exactly what she'd been up to. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that what Mr. Gandhi said about 2002 is accurate.
Yeah.
Where he failed, and failed disastrously, was in trying to suggest that 84 was different, because there's equal amount of evidence going back to commissions of inquiry, going back to so much of investigative work that human rights groups did about the 84 riots. So to suggest that there was a material difference between the two, I think was disingenuous. And I think at the very least he should have offered your exit clause, your exit route of
Did I offer him an exit route?
Because he could have easily
Did I offer him one? I don't think so.
Well, you said you said, can you at least apologize?
He said something
and he could have easily...
That in 1984, the Congress party tried to stop the riots.
Yes, he said that.
Now, I think the Congress party took about 3 days to stop the riots. And similarly, Narendra Modi can say that he pulled out the army in 48 hours. So I think the thing to say that we tried to stop the riots while he didn't, isn't exactly accurate.
Point taken.
The Congress party did very little for the first 2-3 days of 1984.
The point is taken. Did Rahul Gandhi, and I'm going to take a short break. After that, I'm going to run some clips and take this chat with Siddharth and Vinod Mehta forward. 11 o'clock, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this full interview is playing out. And that's just in some time from now. Now, just 4 points. He explained why he doesn't want to be a PM candidate, put the onus on the BJP, criticized them, says they are arbitrary. They destroy democratic processes. He avoided a direct debate with Narendra Modi. He faced tough questions on corruption and said, in the context of Veerbhadra Singh, that I know there is no action happening there, but it's not my job. On price rise, he says, I told the Prime Minister what I felt about it. On 1984 versus 2002, he says, Congress government in 1984 tried to stop the riots, whereas the BJP government in 2002, and this one is surely going to be controversial, actually pushed the riots. On the whole question of the Aam Aadmi Party, he was being, if I may say so, trying to duck many questions and take a position. We're going to run some clips, take this chat forward, back in 2 minutes. A lot of our viewers asking for the political debate to start on what Rahul Gandhi said. To all of them, I'd say that debate, I assure you, will happen tomorrow, and we've been told Congress and BJP both fielding their best 8 to 11 p.m. special edition of the News Hour. Could he have taken Narendra Modi on a little bit more directly? Well, I did feel so. At some point of time, 3 or 4 or 5 questions when he was asked on Narendra Modi, was he trying to avoid a direct contest with Modi? Watch this little clip. We are coming back to the analysis. The Prime Minister, your Prime Minister accuses Narendra Modi in his press conference of presiding over, and I quote, the mass massacre of innocent citizens on the street of Ahmedabad. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, my question to you is this. Do you agree with your Prime Minister when he says that?
Well, I mean, what the Prime Minister is saying is a fact. I mean, Gujarat happened, people died. But the real issue, as far as I'm concerned...
How do you accuse Mr. Narendra Modi of it?
No, Gujarat happened, people died. The real issue at hand here...
How is Mr. Modi responsible for it?
He was Chief Minister when Gujarat happened.
But the fact remains that Narendra Modi has been given a clean chit in the Gulbarg massacre case by the SIT and the court, Mr. Gandhi. My question to you is, can the Congress party sustain its attack on Mr. Narendra Modi on this issue when he has been given the clean chit by the courts in the Gujarat riots?
The Congress party and the BJP have two completely different philosophies. Our attack on the BJP is based on the idea that this country needs to move forward democratically. It needs to push democracy deeper into the country. It needs to push democracy into the villages. It needs to give women democratic power. It needs to give youngsters democratic power. It is about opening the doors of the Congress party, about empowering the youth.
How is Narendra Modi responsible for the Gujarat riots? When the courts have given him a clean sheet, politically your party's tack is to criticize Narendra Modi and draw him into the Gujarat riots.
Our political party is fighting an ideological battle against the BJP. And let me draw out the two pillars. Our party believes that women should be empowered, that democracy should go to every house, that the RTI, the Narega paradigm should be further expanded. The BJP believes that power should be extremely concentrated in this country. Few people should run this country. And the large mass of people in this country should have no voice.
There were 6 questions on Narendra Modi and Gujarat, how we held him responsible. Was it specific enough? The answers. Siddharth, 6-7 questions on how you hold Mr. Narendra Modi responsible. That whole chunk went on for about 10 minutes. What did you think?
Well, I think it's very clear that Rahul Gandhi does not want to see this election framed as Modi versus Rahul. He does not want, and the Congress party has often said this, that this is not a presidential election. And the more the BJP pushes on this front and says it's Modi versus the Shahzada and so on, the more they're going to back off from this. And as I said, he began his interview by trying to say, look, let's not focus on individuals in a way. Let's look at the vision that the two parties represent. And, who can blame him for wanting to take that debate in that way? Now, politically, I think where Mr. Gandhi needs to sharpen his message, it's all very well to speak of a long-term reform agenda, 10, 15, 20 years, opening the system, deepening democracy. I think these are excellent ideas. Their time has come. They need to be implemented. But you need to find the right political message to translate that agenda into an effective tool for an election which is being fought about issues that exist on the ground today, where Modi is raising very concrete charges against the Congress. Congress is unable to respond or is responding not very effectively. Congress has charges to make against Narendra Modi. PM used the press conference last month to raise those charges. Rahul Gandhi is unwilling to engage in the politics of today. He's unwilling to level charges, or he's unwilling to do the homework necessary to sustain charges when he levels them. And I think that's what is making his message slightly confusing and why he will repeatedly duck.
No, but in this whole contest, he may not want to, but it is going to be seen to be a Modi versus Rahul contest. In that, how will this work for him? Yes, Vinod Mehta. Let's give you the last word.
Arnab, well, Arnab, it was quite clear that he didn't want to provoke Narendra Modi in any way, and he did not want to answer your question whether he would take on Narendra Modi directly. But one of the things I found little disquieting in the interview was this whole talk about the system. You see, there's hardly a politician or a political party which has not promised to change the system.
Sure.
And I think the citizens of India are quite fed up with hearing this talk about the system and the system being a barrier for social change. So if you want to change the system, you have to give specific instances of where you want to change the system. But to just talk in generalities that I want to change the system, I want to empower women, etc., sounds very good, but is not credible at all, because everybody has said it before.
Okay.
I think he needed to say something specific where he wanted to change the system and how he was going to change the system.
Well, Vinod Mehta, we are going to have a full political debate on this. Already political leaders are saying we want to give our point of view on what he said on Modi, what he said on price rise, specifically what he said on 1984, what he said on 2002, and whether or not he should have committed himself to a debate with Narendra Modi. To both of you gentlemen, thank you very much for staying up late. And just a reminder, political debate is tomorrow on the Newshour. We start at 8, we carry on till 11 p.m. And the Rahul Gandhi interview is up again at 11 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night and goodbye.